Imagine spending product formulation, research, and even competitor analysis, and then you launch your amazing new product and it's not selling. Now, obviously, this could be due to a lot of different reasons, but in today's video, we are going to analyze the packaging design mistakes that indie brands are doing, and these could lead to a failed product launch. If you're new to the channel, hi, my name is Maya. I'm a brand designer and packaging specialist based in the UK. Before we start with the mistakes and how to fix them, let's start by talking about what packaging is and what's the purpose of it. Think of the times where you go shopping. You are in an aisle of a store and you are either just browsing or you're looking for something specific or maybe a new product to try. Most of the times you will choose a product that you either already know that it's working for you or it has attracted you based on its packaging. That's the first thing that happens. Then you pick up the product, you read through the packaging, and you decide if you want to buy it to try or if you leave it back on the shelf. That's what packaging is for. It's a 24-hour a day advertising for your product and your brand. And in the first 3 seconds that someone looks at your packaging, it has to say who you are as a brand, what the product is for, who the product is for, why it costs as much as it costs, and why people should trust it. Now let's go through the mistakes as well as the ways to fix them. Mistake number 1 is when brands are designing a product packaging based on themselves and not based on the shelf. You have helped to create this product. You know every single thing there is about this product, but you always have to remember that this product is not going to be displayed on its own and people are not going to go specifically to buy your product. Most of the times people are going to browse or go to get something they've already tried, and your product will stand next to this, so it needs to stand out and it needs to convince them to pause, read through your product packaging to see if maybe they want to try your product instead of another one. So before you even brief a designer, make sure that you go on the retailers you would target to sell your products and do a proper shelf audit. See what other brands are doing, not to copy, but just to know what you are going to compete with. And after you have more information about what other brands are doing on the retailers you would like to sell, think of ways that you could make your own product stand out and become more memorable than these brands in the first 2-3 seconds that a consumer will look at it. Remember that packaging is a constant advertising for your product as well as your whole brand. Mistake number 2, your visual identity and your packaging design speak completely different languages. This could have happened because of a lot of different reasons. This is also a really good reason for brands to go through a rebrand, and I have experienced this in the past with many clients. I have a video about rebranding and the right and wrong reasons to do it. I will link it up here. But one of the good reasons to do a rebrand is if you are launching something and your visual identity was not designed for it. Sometimes it happens, we have this business idea, we just want to get it done, someone creates a logo for us and we launch. But before you launch physical products, you need to make sure that your visual identity is ready to carry a range of physical products on the shelf or on an e-commerce. Now, how do you fix this mistake? As I mentioned, a rebrand could be a really good idea right at this moment, and you need to make sure when you are working with a professional designer at this stage, it's really crucial to not just design a logo and some colors, but to create a brand system as well as a packaging design system. This will ensure that you have a brand that is ready for all of your different goals in the future, and it will also help you to have a successful brand growth. Mistake number 3, probably the one I see the most often, and it's having too many things to say and you put everything on the front of pack. Too many claims and not a lot of meaning, to be honest. Because A lot of markets are so oversaturated. Founders are really overwhelmed and they want to stand out, but what they think is if I put more claims on the front of pack, that will make me stand out because I mention a lot more and that will make my consumers trust me more than the brand next to me, right? It doesn't really work that way because if you see a pack that has so much information and so many claims, would you really trust it? It kind of loses its meaning. You have the really important claims, and then next to them, you have some more claims, some more differentiators, and all of your USPs are just at the front of the pack, which makes it cluttered, it makes it look unprofessional, it makes it look not as thought out as you think, and that damages the trust from your consumer. The fix for this one is very easy. Just look through your claims and choose one, maximum two to display at the front of your pack. Remember the hierarchy of your product design. Those one or two claims will need to be either the most important for your product or the most important and big differentiators to your competitors. And then you can choose other sides of your product where you can add some more claims. You can also add as many claims as you want on your product description on your website, as well as the retailer's websites. Your front of pack needs to display the most important, the most crucial things about your product, as well as who they are for. Mistake number 4, using premium cues in the wrong places. For example, if you have a sustainable brand and sustainability are really important for your specific brand, you shouldn't have any paper treatments that are making your product packaging non-recyclable. Another thing I see way too many brands do is use the gold foil or white pack with black text, and it has become such a saturated use of elements, it has lost its meaning. Normally, when you would think of a gold foil or black and white, you would think of premium for the gold foil or minimal for the black and white. But now everything is a blur because so many brands out there use these cues that they have lost their initial meaning. So always think, and instead of following what everyone else is doing, save that budget that you have. It could be a small budget, but instead of spending it on something that is so saturated and so overused, choose an excellent paper stock for your packaging or choose a more custom designed pack instead of the default ones. This will go a long way and it will actually make a much bigger difference than using gold foil. Mistake number 5 is something I have had the experience so many times, and it's not designing for the product lifecycle. And what is the product lifecycle? Say that you are launching a new brand. You are just launching with your first product, not even a range, just one single product. Do you know for sure that you will never ever launch another product? No. So it's best if you already create a brand system that will work time and time again, and it will be able and flexible to grow with your brand. I have had this experience, one brand stand out in my mind, and it was a fitness supplement brand, really big in the UK, and I had the pleasure to work with them through an agency I was working as a designer. This brand had already had a fairly big range of supplements. They had 2 brand colors that were really pastel and they didn't have enough contrast on the pack. So when you were designing, you would actually struggle quite a lot. On top of that, they were doing lots of different flavors for their products. Those flavors had to be translated on the pack in a way that the pack is flexible in all the different types of flavors for the future and the current products. After a while, and after 10-20 products, we didn't really have a big difference in terms of the background color because we had used yellow, we had used an orange, we had used 10 to 20 different colors with a few variations of hues, and then after those, a new shade of, for example, light pink, it was either very close to the brand pink and it was clashing with the logo, or it was very close to another shade that we had for a different flavor. So this is really how you have to think beforehand, before you start launching your products, to make sure as a designer that you are showing this to your client, and as a client, as a founder, to make sure that you have all of these brand system and a packaging system that works in different layouts, that you have the flexibility to grow as much as you want without any restriction. Because one day you can be designing a box like this, and the other day you can be launching a jar which is really short. So you need to make sure that your brand can translate and your packaging can translate seamlessly through the years. And as a designer, when you are creating a packaging design system, you don't need to design lots of detail on it. You just need to design all the different sections with the hierarchy, the different use of color, how it could translate from one product to the other, and create a packaging system that your client can see and kind of visualize the future of the brand. Mistake number 6 is forgetting that the packaging is also an experience. People really remember it. A lot of brands out there just think of the packaging as a container. What they're missing is the experience that the customer has with the packaging. That can be the secondary or the primary packaging. A really good example for me is a product I'm using in my skincare routine. I don't reach for it as often because the packaging is not giving me the greatest experience. It's a bottle with a pump, and the top of the pump is not really designed to give a good experience. When I try to press it, it's really hard to press, barely the size of my finger, that when I try to press, my finger always slips. That's not a great experience. So we need to think not only about our formulation or the taste of our product or the smell of it, but we need to think of the usability and the experience. We also need to remember that people with disabilities should be able to use our product. So we have to do a lot more research and to try our product from different angles and from different customers to make sure that our product packaging experience is as smooth as possible, because that will help our customers to come back and keep coming back and suggesting our products, which is free advertisement. Last but not least, mistake number 7 is when brands are following the category codes instead of breaking them. We've all seen them. Decaf coffee is always blue, milk is always either in a bottle or a carton, a face cream is either in a tube or a jar. But what happens when we actually break those rules and those category codes? We stand out. You still need to follow the other fixes for the other mistakes to ensure great customer experience. If you break the mold, it could be a different choice of colors. It could be a different type of structure. It could be all sorts of things. And this will help you to stand out completely. And there are so many brands that are doing an excellent job at this. Next time you see a packaging like this, take notes and see, as a consumer or even just a spectator, see what you like about it. So remember, your restriction to great packaging design and sales is not always a tight budget. That could just be a wrong strategic choice that can easily be fixed the next time you're able to do it. If you are working on a branding or packaging design project and you would like some help, I will leave all of my details down in the description for you to contact me. And if this video helped you in any way, don't forget to subscribe. Have you made any of these mistakes in the past? How did you fix them? I would love to know in the comments down below.